Okay, so with that being said, if you're going to trust a franchise and you're going to invest tens of millions of dollars in a player, I think it's fair to say that maybe you might have a little bit of skepticism or reservations about Jameis Winston, and you would be fair in saying that. Also, I think the comparison with them with the sexual assault allegations, that is true. The difference is Jameis Winston with the other allegations or instances of the crab legs, the student center where he stood up on the table and yelled out the profanity. It's just things that if I was in a position of power and I was organizing a team, it would be something that would be unsettling to me and something I would definitely be looking into as far as not investing a lot of money or time. I mean, we know the Jets need a quarterback. We understand, I guess, at this point, all of us through observation, that Geno Smith does not have the intangibles nor the skill set that can lead a franchise. But you don't need to draft a quarterback for the sake of drafting a quarterback is what I'm trying to say. And I guess if you did drop in, the draft to where they would be able to get him, they're obviously going to be tempted to. But I would just say, look at it from a whole big picture perspective and don't just draft a quarterback for the sake of it. I'm not a Jets fan. I'm a Giants fan.
Okay.
I'm just saying, you just want to be sure because we see now 2 years of Geno Smith. It's really set the franchise back. 3-4 years with Mark Sanchez. You were wishy-washy on him. That set it back. If you miss on a quarterback, it really, really hurts a franchise.
Okay.
So,
I think that everything you said is fair, Mark, and I'm going to respond. I do thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Mike.
What I would say is this. What I would say in response to the Jameis thing is this. From a I appreciate the fact that you acknowledged that the Roethlisberger's situation is basically identical, although Roethlisberger has multiples and Winston has one allegation. All of it, I want to say, is unsettling to a daddy of two baby girls. So none of it feels good. None of it sounds right. So I'm not here to condone nor accept any of it at that level. But if we're just comparing apples to apples, I got Roethlisberger with multiples. I got Winston with one. Now, I think the caller did make an excellent point in that, look, this is a red flag coming out of college. That is fair. That is fair, and that is different. It has been dismissed. It didn't appear to have as much weight as Roethlisberger's stuff had a little bit more weight, but it is a valid point coming out of college. It is a huge red flag. Now, on the positive side of the ledger, and let me just say this. When we start talking about crab legs and who stood up on a table and yelled obscenities, I mean, come on, bro, really? I mean, we're talking about college kids with a couple, maybe I don't know, maybe he's cold sober, maybe he got a couple of drinks in his system. I mean, I'm not sure what schools the other folks went to, but high school, college, I mean, whatever. Guys with a bunch of testosterone who are playing sports, yelling and saying out of control stuff with a couple of drinks in their system. I mean, whether it's standing on a table, ripping their shirt off in a crowd, doing whatever, wrestling each other, fighting. I mean, all of that is just, it's kind of pedestrian. Now, stealing a couple of chicken wings or some crab legs off a buffet line, yeah, that's not ideal. And theft is theft, and I understand it. But in the scheme of things, there's theft and there's food. Now, we could get into a conversation if the NCAA actually had the Heisman Trophy winner and his entire team who's bringing millions and millions and millions of dollars to the NCAA on some sort of stipend, maybe the brother wouldn't be stealing crab legs off the buffet line to begin with. I mean, if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. I mean, are we really talking about crab legs? If we get to the point we talk about stuff like crab legs and who stole the side of coleslaw, I mean, I don't think that's going to be a character issue that's going to follow him into the NFL. Because once he starts making some real money, I think he's going to be able to buy all the crab legs and whatever else he wants, crab legs, steaks, what have you. The part that I like about Winston a whole lot very, very similar to Cam Newton, is this. As daunting as all of the background noise was and the visceral hatred that so many people have for this young man over some allegations, and I saw what it did to Cam Newton. As for all we talk about in this country about single mothers raising kids, I'm going to jump to Cam Newton for a hot second. Here was Cam Newton, who grew up with a father and a mother in his life, and he was so shamed and so pressured into not having his dad even show up at the Heisman event. Whether or not his dad took the money or didn't take the money or whatever happened, guess what? Nobody ever proved that to this day. And that was that kid's shining moment. That kid, as best I recall, went undefeated. Jameis Winston went undefeated. With all the background noise and all the hatred demonstrated stadium to stadium, week after week, yelling at those guys for whatever reason. And they were both on trial and had investigations and all that stuff. And guess what? Come out the next week and I win again. I might have had 300 yards passing. I might have had 200. I'm not saying Jameis' season was as hot as last season, but guess what? He was lightening up well enough to go undefeated. So that, to me, says here's a guy who can handle a lot of pressure. And when I'm starting an NFL franchise with a quarterback, I want a guy who can handle a lot of pressure. You know who can't handle any pressure, folks? Might be a nice kid, might be a nice guy, who cannot handle a lot of pressure is Geno Smith. Somebody should have told Mr. Johnson that before he drafted him. Geno Smith told us exactly who he was, folks, on draft day. On draft day, when he didn't get drafted in the first round, and he started to fall further and further down, he left the draft room. He started wiggling his head back and forth, took off his jacket. He was upset. He looked like he was almost crying. Guess what? If you can't deal with the pressure on draft day because you're falling in the draft and you're going to get that upset and you're going to have to run out of the room and run off camera, then guess what? New York is not the city for you. Newsflash. If you can't deal with the pressure on draft day, then don't draft him. I don't even know what Mr. Johnson and that crew was thinking about. So if we're going to talk about who to draft, I say get a guy like Jameis Winston who can handle the pressure. He can handle the pressure. You put him on trial, he's good. You want to investigate, he's good. He's coming out, he's going to drop 300 yards on you, and he's going to find a way to win the game one way or another. We didn't get to multiple calls, but we did get to that one call. We're going to come back after this, and then I'm going to hit my 3 wishes for the Jets, which included the one that I just made, the one that I just said. We're on the Fan, WFAN with Michael Graves. We're going to break.
Sports Radio 101.9 FM, The Fan, and Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Good morning, Michael Graves here in The Fan, WFAN. Please call us at 877-337-6666, our toll-free line, sponsored by the good folks at Mohegan Sun. Listen, right before the break, we were talking about a couple of different things. I want to get back to a 3 wishes thought with the Jets specifically. We talked about Geno Smith a little bit, not being a leader, and how I feel about Jameis Winston. Geno, I feel bad. I almost don't want to throw away the baby with the bathwater, and I'm going to talk out of both sides of my neck for 2 seconds here. But I almost don't want to say that we should discard the guy already. Maybe there's a way he can become a backup, a second, third string guy, and build his way back up to eventually being a starter somewhere. I don't know if that's going to be New York. I don't know if he's strong enough internally to be, I don't mean physically, I mean internally. I don't know if he's built to handle New York. So I just don't know if this is the right city for him. That does not necessarily mean that he can't play as a starting NFL quarterback. He may need a kinder, gentler city than New York because he may be a gentle soul, and this may just not be the spot for him. So that may be the Geno situation. But let me hit my 3 real quick for the Jets. the obvious ones are Rex and Isaac, have to be gone. Isaac was just a guy who shouldn't have been here to begin with. Rex has done his piece, the rah-rah thing. I'm really tired of the Rex show. Rex is probably a great guy to go out and have a beer with, have a cigar with, eat some food with, all that. I'm sure he's entertaining, all the above. At the end of the day, to hear all those press conferences when he's like, oh, yeah, our guys are chomping at the bit. Oh, yeah, we're ready to go. Oh, yeah, hey, you drop us off anywhere. We're ready to rumble in the jungle. And, all the cliches, all of that. And then to see what happened to them the other day in Detroit when they were playing Buffalo and the game had to be relocated, and they got lit up. They got lit up and abused in a foreign stadium, and after something like 14 days off or something. Bill Belichick would have had his guys so prepared, they would have been reciting verses of the Bible and of the dictionary. With 2 weeks off. What are you thinking about, Rex? And he was talking about how his guy, oh, yeah, our guy's chomping at the bit. Yeah, we're ready to go. Yeah, we're locked and loaded. No, you're nothing. You're nothing. You're garbage. You're not inspiring anybody, and nobody's buying it, Rex. So, once again, nice guy, time to go. Him and Isaac out the door. Geno Smith, time to go to another city. Mike Vick, maybe there's a backup clipboard you can hold as a third stringer somewhere. I got to say, I saw 2-3 third stringers recently that I'm inspired by. The third stringer for the Titans, not a bad pickup at all. I understand he came from San Diego, but the third stringer for the Titans played a hell of a game the other day. I thought he played very, very strong. And the third stringer for the Arizona Cardinals. I don't understand how we got third stringers, no-name guys who are almost coming off the street or, they're probably a Division D3 schools or something. How are they coming in? How are they drafting better guys or developing better guys as third-string quarterbacks out of nowhere than we can in New York City? I don't get it. I don't get it. And therefore, people have to go. So Rex and Isaac, gone. Take your quarterbacks with you. Let's start with a whole fresh crew. Mr. Johnson, since you're in the drug game, let's look at this as a prescription to fix this situation. And I'm going to tell you, write it down now, folks. If Mr. Johnson hires Charlie Casserly, huge mistake, and we will regret it for another 2 to 3 years here with the Jets. But maybe it'll take even longer than that for Mr. Johnson to get to the point where he identifies that Casserly is not the answer. I spent a decade in Washington, D.C. at the identical time that Charlie Casserly was there. The guy who built, let's be clear about something, the guy who built the Washington Redskins dynasty with Joe Gibbs, that guy was Bobby Beathard, okay? That's who the general manager was. Charlie Casserly came in at the tail end. Yeah, he was the GM in name, but guess what? That's like giving my man from Oklahoma credit for Jimmy Johnson's Dallas Cowboys teams. Nobody's doing that. He came in and coached a team that somebody else put together. It's like John Gruden getting credit, and I would give him a little bit more credit, but it's like Gruden getting credit for building the Tampa Bay squad after Dungy was there. It was his thing that they never quite got over the hump, so I still give Gruden his credit. But Charlie Casserly, the knock on him is that he does not relate to players at all. Mr. Johnson, you're already perceived as aloof and out of touch. Do you need a backup? Is that what you need? Can we get somebody with some passion who can come to the table, who can relate to some players, Mr. Johnson, who can embrace some players, and who is a real football guy, not Charlie Casserly? Wrong answer. I promise you, folks, wrong answer. If you want to read something, read what Bill Belichick, I'm not saying Bill Belichick is gospel, but you read his criticism of Charlie Casserly in terms of how he relates to people or not. I would absolutely echo the same sentiment. I was there in Washington, D.C. I witnessed it with my own eyes. Does not relate to players. Not a good move for this Jets organization. I'm going to head to a call. Who do I have here? I got Bobby. I did a mic before, so let me go to Bobby. Bobby, happy holidays to you. You want to talk about Eli Manning? Wow. Bobby's asleep. That's strong. Okay, we're going to drop Bobby. Hey, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
B, has anybody ever actually been asleep before? The call that guy was actually snoring.
Absolutely. If they are on hold for a while, especially at that time, they'll start dozing and snoring.
Wow, that guy was literally snoring.
Mike's not snoring, though. Mike's up. Yanks and Giants.
Mike, Yanks and Giants, happy holidays. What's on your mind?
Hello?
Yes, Mike, we're talking to you. Well,
This is Bob. This is Bob from Vermont.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Giants and the Yankees.
Okay.
For the Yankees wish list, I wish they get rid of Beltran because he stinks. And I want them to pick up a pitcher, a big starting pitcher this year. And we need another third baseman, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for the Giants, I want another wide receiver this year coming up for the draft, a very good one. And also pick up, like you said, Dominic Sue, right?
Yeah.
I like that one. And we could try the other guy you mentioned, too.
Incognito.
Yeah, he's pretty good, I heard.
Yeah.
There's no reason why you can't pick him up.
Okay.
And then, are you the caller that usually gives Martin Lucis his football picks? Are you the guy?
No, sir. That would not be
me.
me.
Where are you from?
I'm from New York originally.
Oh, this is your news. You just started this job?
Just came on just to greet you for the holidays. Special treat for you.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You have a great holiday yourself.
Okay, you too, and I appreciate you calling. And we're taking,
nice talking to you.
Thank you, sir. And we're taking more calls at 877-337-6666. I guess since I've run down at least 3 of the New York teams, I should at least finish up with a couple other thoughts about the New York teams as we're headed towards the top of the hour, and I've got a few minutes to wrap up. Let's go to the Nets for a second. I think I've covered the Giants, and I've covered the Jets. I've covered the Knicks. Let's go to the Nets. I would ask the Nets to become relevant. How about that? How about just become relevant, full stop? Anytime your building is more relevant than you, then you got a problem, folks. When people talk about the Nets, they start talking about the Nets Stadium. Oh, yeah. Went to see the Nets. Oh, yeah, wow, that's a great building. I mean, fantastic food, great seats, great lighting. Yeah, I saw a concert there. I saw Beyonce, Jay-Z's on the front row. Bada bing, bada boom. I had a cigar afterwards. I was feeling good. Okay, I've heard all of that, folks. I can park my car underground. I don't have to step outside. I've heard about all the sexy stuff. Can somebody talk to me about the product on the court? Can somebody talk to me about the product on the court? Anytime your building is sexier than you, we're not in a good place. So, Nets, please, become relevant, become more relevant than your stadium. For the Mets, we're going to go turn to baseball for 2 seconds. I feel like a lot of the callers. I feel like we need new bats. I feel like, first of all, we're not even sure with the Yankees what our identity is going to be. Because now that the captain's gone, I don't know what's going to happen with that. The A-Rod thing, who knows what's going to happen with that? That's a complete wild card. He's coming back. He's not coming back. Where's he going to play? What is he going to play? Is he going to play DH? He's not going to play. Should we sign him? Not sign him? Should we waive $60 million goodbye? No. First of all, you don't waive $60 million goodbye or whatever it is. It's a whole gang of money. He needs to continue to get paid and at least show up for work. Give us the best you got. Let's hope he may not be hitting the ball out of the stadium, but at least if he can hit some line drives, do something. He may not be able to run around the bases, but if he can at least do some DHing, I think we try and get whatever we can from A-Rod at this point. And as far as the Mets, first and foremost, the beginning, middle, and the end of the game is Harvey coming back from surgery. That's just got to happen. I mean, the whole ball game is around him. That's really just kind of where it is. Without him, it's difficult to imagine how the Mets are going to start to rebuild or where they start or where the captain is, of that shit. So that's kind of how I see all 6, New York teams as a collective in terms of where we go from here. I do want to say, folks, that it has been an absolute pleasure to be guest hosting tonight and filling in for a couple of different folks, but to have the opportunity to spend some time, share my thoughts here at the Fan and WFAN. Again, I would like to thank all the good folks who I had a chance to work with, particularly the guy on the other side of the glass who's kept me honest and kept me on track here, Mr. Brian Rascona. Coming up next, folks, we are going with JJ After Dark. JJ After Dark. That's how we're going to start the top of the next hour. Most importantly, folks, I want to wish everybody a happy and lovely, wonderful holiday. I do want to send a quick shout out again to my fiance Maria, to my dad who I saw last night. Is 80 years old. Saw Dad for his birthday. Well, birthday coming up. Bros, family, friends, loved ones, supporters, all the above. To you and yours, I hope everybody has a happy, wonderful, healthy holiday. I hope you get whatever you want under your tree or in your life. Hope you eat some fabulous things. And, if you're having a beverage, stay at home, stay safe, do wonderful things. Happy holidays. Thank you for having me. Michael Graves on The Fan, WFAN.
Radio 66, The Fan, WFAN.